أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب وقفينا من بعده بالرسل وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس أفكلما جاءكم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسكم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون وقالوا قلوبنا غلف بل لعنهم الله بكفرهم فقليلا ما يؤمنون.
iPad देखो क्या
ولما جاءهم كتاب من عند الله مصدق لما معهم وكانوا من قبل يستفتحون على الذين كفروا فلما جاءهم ما عرفوا كفروا به فلعنة الله على الكافرين. بئس ما اشتروا به أنفسهم أن يكفروا بما أنزل الله أن يكفروا بما أنزل الله بغيا أن ينزل الله من فضله على من يشاء من عباده فباءوا بغضب على غضب وللكافرين عذاب مهين. وإذا قيل لهم آمنوا بما أنزل الله قالوا نؤمن بما أنزل علينا ويكفرون بما وراءه وهو الحق مصدقا لما معهم قل فلم تقتلون أنبياء الله من قبل إن كنتم مؤمنين. ولقد جاءكم موسى بالبينات ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا فوقكم الطور خذوا ما آتيناكم بقوة واسمعوا قالوا سمعنا وعصينا وأشربوا في قلوبهم العجل بكفرهم قل بئس ما يأمركم به إيمانكم إن كنتم مؤمنين ولن يتمنوه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين ولتجدنهم أحرص الناس على حياة ومن الذين أشركوا يود أحدهم لو يعمر 1000 سنة وما هو بمزحزحه من العذاب أن يعمر والله بصير بما يعملون صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغ رسوله النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Jazakallah, brother Faiz. MashaAllah, very good recitation. Allah give you jazaa for that. So, inshallah, we are going to start this 87 ayat, and in which sort of a new chapter is being introduced to us. For the last few of the chapters, we were talking about Bani Israel. So these three Abrahamic religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. So what are their scriptures, how they are interlinked, and what are our differences among that? So in previous ruku, the main address by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was Bani Israel. But now we are also being introduced to the Isa alayhi salam. And the story goes, like, we have to understand the background of all the Abrahamic religion. That after Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam, his older son, he was settled in the valley of Makkah. And from his progeny, our Lord Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, other son, Ishaq alayhi salam, he went and lived in Canaan, which is now Palestine. And from there, all the prophets came. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that all the previous prophets before Musa alayhi salam who came, they were from the Bani Israel or the Bani Ishaq. So, and also after Musa alayhi salam, the prophets that followed him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Qaffayna, it means Allah sent a line or the one after another, the prophets. So after Musa alayhi salam, in his contemporary was Harun alayhi salam. But after that, Sulaiman alayhi salam, Dawood alayhi salam, and Yahya alayhi salam, Zakaria alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salam came. But when Isa alayhi salam came, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَقَفَّيْنَا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ بِالرُّسُلِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Musa alayhi salam the kitab, which was Torah for them. And after that, he sent prophets after prophet. وَآتَيْنَا إِيسَى ibn Maryam al-bayyinati وَأَيَّدْنَاهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also talking about Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, And in the previous chapter, we discussed that all the prophets, when they are given the miracles or the sign, they are giving according to the society they are sent in for guidance. So when we talk about Musa alayhi salam, when he was sent to ancient Egypt, so that society was obsessed with sorcery, magic, and all that. And they had magic wands, they had, demons as their pet, and they had all kind of things. So Musa alayhi salam was given a miracle of staff, and he was given, a miracle of a pet, that his staff will also become a serpent, and he will guard him. And when Musa alayhi salam strike, his nation asked for water, he strike rock, and the 12, springs sprang out of it. He strike it on the ground, on the court of Pharaoh, and it became serpent. So when Isa alayhi salam, now we are being introduced to the chapter of Isa alayhi salam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he gave him a clear signs, and he aided them with the pure soul, which was the angel Gabriel, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped him with that. And what was the miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Isa alayhi salam? That society had changed from Musa alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam. When Isa alayhi salam came, the medicine was on its height. Like in the society he was sent in Palestine, so there were very good physicians who could cure all the ailments, except they were helpless against the 3 ailments. One was core, or leprosy. Leprosy, they did not have any cure for it. Somebody was born blind, they could not cure that. Or somebody who died on the deathbed, they could not revive him. So these were the things. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with a lot of miracles, but they were his 3 main miracles. Just like Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, main miracle is Quran, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him to a society which was very poetic, and a society which was very much obsessed by the choices of word or eloquent speeches. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the Quran as a miracle and sent him. Isa alayhi salam, he performed miracles that are beyond physicians can understand the medicine. Like if somebody is born blind, they could not give him the eyesight. So Isa alayhi salam gave him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, he mentioned some miracles that are not in Bible either. I'll give you a little example. Like we are now being introduced to what is Christianity is. Isa alayhi salam, when he emerged and he presented the deen to his people, because he was born into what people perceive as Bani Israel or the Jewish. So Christianity first was perceived only as a sect of Judaism. Much later, during the person they call him Saint Paul, he said the Jews fail to carry the message. That's why it had to be brought to Gentile. So Paul, he was the one, like today the religion of Christianity as you perceive is basically a Paulian religion, which they call him Paul. He was the one who introduced the concept of Trinity into Christianity. He's the one who altered the ancient Hebrew law, which forbade the eating of pork, which forbade any association with. But much later, it was also a very much Roman influenced society. So in Roman religion, the pagan religion of Rome, they had a concept of Trinity. So they borrowed that concept. So Saint Paul, basically, he brought 3 things to Christianity. First, the early Christians, or the true Christians they used to call them, it was just limited as a sect of Judaism. So the Jews at that time, they rejected Isa alayhi salam, and they tried to crucify him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summoned him up to the heaven, and he ascended him to the heavens. But Christians have a different views of that. So anyway, just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave on the Musa alayhi salam the Torah. On the Isa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him Injil. And what is Injil? Injil they perceive as a New Testament. But what the Christians have today are the four Gospels. Four Gospels are the four people who are the followers of Jesus or Isa alayhi salam, and they had written the accounts of teachings of Isa alayhi salam. So one is called Mark, second one is called Luke, and third one is called John, and I forgot, Mark, John, Luke, and Matthews. So these are the four disciples. They are not contemporary, their date goes back to 50 years after Isa alayhi salam, or some of them 90 years. After Isa alayhi salam, there was almost 27 or 28 Bibles. They were in the circulation. And earlier, Romans, they prosecuted Christianity very badly because they see that as a threat. But in the year 333, one of the Roman emperor, he converted to Christianity, and his name was Constantine. So Constantine, what he did, he changed his capital from the Italian city Rome, which was the seat of Roman Empire, to what is now Istanbul. He named it after himself, Constantine. He adopted Christianity, and there were about 28 Gospels in circulation. One of them was Gospel of Thomas, another one was Gospel of Barnabas. So, but he said that, there are too many Bibles. There are four corners of any room, or there are four corners of the world, so there could be only four Bibles. So let's select four Bibles. So to cut the story short, he selected Mark, Luke, Matthews, and John as selected Bibles. And he said that anybody who read any gospel other than that will be condemned to death. But some of the Bibles did survive. One was Bible of Barnabas, which was recently discovered, and that totally shattered the established, Roman Catholic religion and their belief system. Another one was Gospel of Barnabas. Gospel of Thomas. Gospel of Thomas was discovered in Egypt in some through some in some ruins of Egypt. And again, Bible of or the Gospel of Thomas, that totally changed the view, because in Quran, and it is mentioned that Isa alayhi salam, what he would do, he would make clay pigeons and blow life into them, and they will fly away. So these miracles. There are other miracles of curing the blind and all that are in Bible, or those four Gospels. But one particular miracle, which is to blow lifeless pigeon life into that, it is only mentioned in Gospel of Thomas. So those people who accuse Mazallah of Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that he was just following the Bible, the four Bibles, they were in the circulation. There were only four Bibles. This Bible of Thomas has been recently discovered. So that shattered the image. And another one is called Dead Sea Scrolls. If you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, it has not totally been revealed. Again, it will shatter the total, the image of Christianity, or they have been taught. وَآتَيْنَا إِيسَى ibn Maryam بَيِّنَاتٍ وَأَيَّدْنَا بِرُوحِ الْقُدْسِ. Here, بِرُوحِ الْقُدْسِ means Jibreel alayhi salam. So whenever a prophet comes to them and they do not like them, so it was the Bani Israel that from after Ishaq alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam, that a lot of prophets came, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the Qafaina means one after another. So what was their attitude? That they will pick and choose what kind of teachings suit us, what kind of teachings we like and we do not like. So some of the prophets, they totally deny you're not prophet at all. And some of them, they crucify him and they kill him and all that. So that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemning Bani Israel, their attitude toward the prophets, that sometimes they would rebel to them, sometimes they will pick and choose their teachings, and sometimes they will just kill them. وَقَالُوا قُلُوبَنَا غُلْفٌ. So they say our hearts are wrapping. So غُلْف is a word that can be used in many different contexts. it can be also say that a cushion cover or a pillow cover or a wrapping around something. So what they are saying, Bani Israel, that our hearts are like a pillow cover or wrappings that nothing can penetrate. What the teachings you're bringing us, because we already believe in our book, we do not are not open. Our hearts are wrapped and nothing can go into it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather, Allah's Allah's condemnation is toward them, and few of them will come back to Islam. So finally, a book came, which is Quran Sharif, and in the Bible, and all the Jewish scholars, all the Christian scholars, they would recognize Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as somebody would recognize his own son, because everybody knows this is my son or my child and all that. So the prophecies in the previous scriptures was so accurate that they were able to find. I will give you some examples that when Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with Banu Saad and with his foster mother Halima Sadiya. So one time he was with his foster mother Halima Sadiya, and one person, a Jewish person, came and saw something in Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he became very much curious about it and kept asking questions to Halima Sadiya. Who's this boy? Who's his father and all that, a lot of questions. Hazrat Halima, she became a little suspicious that she realized that person's intention is not good. So when that person asked, who's the mother of that child? So she said, I am. And when the person asked, who's the father? So she pointed out to her husband that that's the father of the child. So that person said, oh, these two signs do not fit. According to our science, the child should have been orphaned. So otherwise we would have, Maazallah, killed that child. So they had some kind of indication what kind of things. It is a chapter by itself, but they were able to recognize Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he was born, the chief Jewish rabbi, he said, not only they knew the time who would be Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but they would also know the timing of that. So the day Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born, so the Jewish rabbi from Medina said, today Arab became blessed with the prophet. Much later, still young, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made a trade journey with his uncle Abu Talib, and they stopped at a place which was a Christian monastery, and there was a priest there was called Bahira. So Bahira, he was able to recognize Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he told Abu Talib that this is the prophet, and he asked, what kind of dream do you see? So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told this Bahira what kind of dream he sees. So he interpreted the dreams, and he saw some other thing, and he told Abu Talib, protect this child from Bani Israel. So Abu Talib became very much worried, and he sent Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam back to Makkah rather than accompanying him with a trade journey. But there are also some pious people, and I will give you example of Hazrat Salman Farsi. Hazrat Salman Farsi was born into Persia, and his father was a Zoroastrian priest, and they will lit fire and worship it. But Hazrat Salman Farsi got tired of this thing. He says that fire I kindle, I feed the wood into that fireplace, and then I worship it. No, it doesn't make sense. So he rebelled against that. So first he went to the Jewish people who are in Persia and tried to join them. They say, no, we don't take any converts. So he went and joined some Christian group, and he was able to learn a lot about Christianity. And those Christian priests, the first Christian priest was in, I believe, in Iraq. So Hazrat Salman Farsi stayed with him for a long time, and he taught him a lot of things. And he said, a prophet is about to come. And he gave him some signs of him. But later on, when the priest became very old and he was dying, he said that I taught you everything I know about Christianity, so I would not be able to teach you anything. And he died soon afterward. But before he died, he gave address of another priest that was in Syria. He said, after me, you go and see him. So Salman Farsi, after his tutor died, he went to seek the company of another priest, Christian priest. He went there and he stayed them in the company. And that priest gave him the indication that the upcoming prophet, the last prophet, will emerge from a land. There will be a lot of date palms. And he gave him indication that this last prophet will not accept charity, but will accept gift. And he told him that, the last prophet will have a seal of prophethood on his back. So Hazrat Salman Farsi, when he came to Medina, so he was enslaved and he was sold as a slave in Medina. And he kept waiting. So Nabi Muhammad finally migrated from Makkah to Medina, and all the indications that were given to Salman Farsi, he presented him with a tray of dates and told him that this is a charity or sadaqah. So Nabi Muhammad did not accept it. He rather distributed among his friends, but he did not eat it himself. So Hazrat Salman Farsi got one indication of that. So next day, he brought another tray of dates and said, this is a gift. Nabi Muhammad accepted that. He ate it from that tray, and he also, shared it with his Sahabas. So second of the sign was, fulfilled. So the third thing he tried to do is go on the back of Nabi Muhammad and see, is there a seal of prophethood on his back? So Nabi Muhammad realized what he's up to. So he lowered his sheet from his shoulder, and Salman Farsi saw the seal of prophethood between his two shoulders, and he accepted Islam. So these are some of the things that people who are genuinely seeking the truth. And some people, just out of arrogance, they refuse to believe in Nabi Muhammad, because to them, the lineage was an important thing. And lineage was that they thought that, Bani Israel thought that prophets could only come from the lineage of Ishaq al-Islam. So when Nabi Muhammad, who's from the lineage of Ismail al-Islam, they refused to accept that. It was very strange thing that in Makkah, people of Makkah hold the lineage or the bloodline of Nabi Muhammad in very high esteem, because he was the son of Hazrat Abdullah, his grandson of Abdul Muttalib, and great grandson of Hashim. And his family had honor of, being the custodian of Kaaba. So they accepted his lineage, but when he presented the teachings of Tawheed, of the previous prophet, of the concept of, resurrection after the death. So these were the novel ideas for people of Makkah, and they rejected that. For Jews and for Christians, they were waiting for a prophet, and they had very clear signs of that. But when they realized that the prophet who had come is from Bani Ismail, they rejected his lineage or through the arrogance. I would like to add another thing to it. On 6th year of Hijrah, when Sulh Hudaybiyah took place and there was sort of a truce between Quraysh and Muslims, Nabi Muhammad concentrated his whole efforts on the propagation of Islam, and he wrote a letter to the Emperor of Rome. And Emperor of that Rome, as I just mentioned, that seat of the government had changed from the Italian city of Rome to the what is now Turkish city of Istanbul, and it was called Constantinople at that time. So Nabi Muhammad wrote a letter inviting Hercules, the emperor, to Islam. So Hercules, what he did, he was also not only the emperor, but he was a prominent Christian scholar. He knew scriptures very well, and he had a priest friend in the city of Rome who was a close friend of him, because they both shared the passion of Christian teachings and scriptures. So when Nabi Muhammad's letter came to him, so Abu Sufyan was on a trade mission to Syria. So Hercules said that anybody from that people, like Quraysh people, if you find them, he told his soldiers to bring it to them. So Abu Sufyan was brought to Hercules' court. And Hercules asked few, because he had a letter inviting him to Islam. So he asked few questions to Abu Sufyan that, how is the lineage of Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So Abu Sufyan said that his lineage is very, very high. So then he asked him that people who are converting to Islam, are they poor people, underprivileged people, or they are rich or powerful people? Abu Sufyan said that, they are poor people. So then he said that he asked that after accepting his religion, some of them reverted back to their old religion. So Abu Sufyan said no. So he asked few questions. And after that, he addressed Quraysh and his own people. He says that all the prophets are from the good lineages. And then he said that, and I do not have time to explain all that, but Hercules was able to recognize, because he was a Christian scholar himself. And after those people go, he wrote a letter to his friend in Rome. And he said that, such and such letter came, and I asked such a question from his people. So his friend, who was a priest in Rome, he confirmed that this is the prophet we have been waiting for. Hercules said, we knew a prophet is coming, but we did not realize that it will be coming from your people, means Arab or all that. So some people, they also knew which lineage he will come from, because the Jewish rabbi in Medina at the birth of Nabi Muhammad, not only he knew the place that he will migrate to Medina, but he would know the lineage. He said that Arab. But Hercules, whatever scripture he had, he interpreted, he did not know the lineage. He only knew the prophet was coming. So we'll, inshallah, move forward and explain more. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a book, Quran, which confirmed to the previous scriptures, وَكَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ وَيَسْتَفْتِحُونَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And it was a time that not only, like in Medina, there were 3 Jewish tribes, they were living there. So one was Banu Qaynuqa, Banu Khariza, and Banu Nazir. So these tribes, sometimes they would fight amongst themselves, and they would sometimes ally themselves with their Arab allies, Aus and Hazrat, and sometimes the outside Medina. So here what is being mentioned, that they used to say, like, what was their attitude? They knew a prophet was coming. So if they had a trade deal go bad, so Jews will say, okay, a prophet is coming, and when he comes, we'll destroy you with our prophet. And that's why they held a good, reverence in Medina too, that Ansar, Aus and Khazraj, they used to, warn them and threat them that, a prophet is coming and he will be on our side. And if you do not follow us, or if you treat us badly, we will destroy you with that help of that. So Maulana Abdul Qadir Siddiqi Saheb has mentioned the whole dua that these Jewish rabbis taught to their people. Then they were defeated by Banu Ghatfan. Banu Ghatfan was a tribe that was living just outside of Medina, and they were basically bandits and robbers and all that. It was a tribe that was not held in very high esteem or great respect. They were good warriors, but their main source of income was looting people and robbing caravans and all that. So these Jewish tribes, they had a fight with them and they were defeated, and that's how the Jewish tribes priest taught them a dua with the wasila of Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that they know a last prophet will come, and within his name we ask you for the victory over our enemy. So this is the mention. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ مَا عَرَفُوا كَفَرُوا فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ مَا عَرَفُوا. So finally, when Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam come, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, they knew, or arafu means they recognized. So it was not that they did not know this is not a prophet, but they knew it very well. They had all kind of signs, they have all kind of indication and all that. Then they, فَلَانَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. Allah woe to those people who deny or they do the kufr. And Maulana Abdul Qadir Siddiqui Saheb is also giving the dua that these Jews of Medina, they were defeated by two powerful tribes. They were just outside the Medina, Banu Asad and Banu Ghatfan. And they became very much humble. And the dua is also mentioned in Tafseer-e-Siddiqi. Allahumma Rabbana inna nas'aluka bihaqi Ahmadun Nabi. Ahmadun Nabi. So the word mentioned, they mentioned was Ahmad. Al-Ummi al-Lazi wa'adna an tuharrijuhu lana fi akhirat zaman. And this dua goes on. So they knew that his name will be Ahmad and he will be Ummi. Ummi means, we had explained before, that he will not be in need of, he will be, one of the miracles of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he will be Ummi, he will be giving a book. He will taught those books without any reading and writing. This is the miracle of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it is, so what they have done it, bihi anfusahum. So it is very bad what they did to their own self, that, you know, because of their arrogance and all that, they said, even in the Arabs, not only to Jewish, but, you know, some other, why did this scripture came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? With their arrogance, they said that we were better suited to receive the scriptures. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that why did this revelation came, and why this fadlihi ala min yashaw. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that whoever Allah select. So Allah selected Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to be his last prophet, and because of him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this whole universe. And when they questioned Allah's decision to select Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to carry the message and receive the message, so they were questioning it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that a wrath after wrath will come to them, and for the kuffar, they will have a very severe punishment. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا نُؤْمِنُ بِمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْنَا وَيَكْفُرُونَ بِمَا وَرَاهُ. So when it's said to them that accept what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed, so they say, we will only accept what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, which is Torah. وَهُوَ الْحَقُّ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَهُمْ. Although the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Quran, which testified what they have it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ فَلِمَّا تَقْتُلُونَ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ مِنْ قَبْلُ إِن كُنْتُمْ مُؤْمِنِينَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Quran has a complete guidance. It is also telling us how to deal, how to ask questions, how to dialogue with the people of scriptures. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Quran testified that, you know, there were previous scriptures, and our version of because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that how much they have perverted the previous scriptures, how much they had altered it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrected all the disbelief and say that, you know, the previous scriptures, which was Torah, which was revealed to Musa alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summoned him on the Mount Tur, and after 40 days of meditation, he granted them. And after that, he gave Injil to Isa alayhi salam. And then before that, he had given palm to Dawud alayhi salam, which is Zabur. So these were the three scriptures Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, and says that, you know, the Quran testified that they were the true scriptures that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the different prophets. But you know, when they deny that, they say that we will only accept what we have, which is Torah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking them that why would you, if you are so obedient that, you know, you are following the scriptures of your own religion, why would you slay the prophets that had come before them? They were responsible for slaying Yahya alayhi salam, which was John. And why would they try to crucify Isa alayhi salam? They call him Jesus. And why would they poison Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the Khaybar? So this is the thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that, you know, if you are such a righteous people, why would you kill prophets before? وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ مُوسَى بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ وَأَنْتُمْ ظَالِمُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave clear signs to Musa alayhi salam. We discussed these miracles that he was given staff, serpent, and all that. And his most important, probably the date for Musa alayhi salam, when he was called upon Tur, and he was given the Torah after 40 days of meditation. So meanwhile, Musa alayhi salam was on Mount Tur, so they made a calf made of, silver and gold. So how bad it is for a prophet, a very important event, or the very thing that when he received a Torah, and that's what they did. And that not only poisoned their heart, but they had a very bad effect on them. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ وَرَفَعْنَا فَوْقَكُمُ الطُّورَ. And we took the covenant from you, and we raised Tur over you. So فَوْقَكُمُ الطُّورَ means that we raised the Mount Tur over you. So the ulmas have different views on that. Some of them they say that literally the Mount Tur was raised, and this is if that is meant, without doubt, we will believe that. But some people say that, ulmas have said that it is used metaphorically, because in Quran many places are used metaphorically. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. So these are the blessed places Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. So they do not mean that those particular day. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ means this holy city of Mecca. So Tur could be means that this where Musa alayhi salam received his Torah. So that's why it is blessed. And we raise him, that means we raise the keys of that in a metaphoric sense. But some of the ulama say that even if Allah meant it literally, that he raised it, so Allah is capable of doing everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hold down to what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent in the previous script. So these people of Bani Israel, they say, oh, we hear it, but we will not believe it. So such was their, and that attitude, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was very much disappointed at the attitude of people of book. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also mentioning, you are not the first prophet they did that to you. They did the same thing to Musa alayhi salam. They did same thing to Isa alayhi salam. They did same thing to Yahya alayhi salam. They did same thing to the previous prophet. And some of them, they went as far as slaying them. وَشْرِبُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِجْلَ بِكُفْرِهِمْ. And what they had done, that their cow worshipping had sunk into their heart. Sunk into their heart means because they did kufr, so they had poisoned their heart, or they had, dirtied their hearts with that. Because Allah's wrath came on them, because when Musa alayhi salam went to receive his scriptures, that's what they did. And maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that when a murder took place in Bani Israel of a very rich merchant, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they came to Musa alayhi salam to find out the culprit who killed that wealthy merchant. Musa alayhi salam told them to sacrifice a cow. So basically, it ended up capturing the culprit who had killed the wealthy merchant. But it could have been also a way that they had started revering and respecting cow to the level that they did not want to sacrifice it. So Musa alayhi salam told with Allah's command that sacrifice a cow. So that dispelled. In some of the cultures, like in India, still cows are revered and all that, and people think it's blasphemous to slay a cow. بِكُفْرِهِمْ قُلْ بَيْسَمَا يَأْمُرُكُمْ بِهِ إِيمَانُكُمْ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is giving a way of dialoguing with people of scriptures, that you are saying that you follow your book, but would a book let you follow something wrong, or something which is will be taught? So why would you slay a prophet? That was not something commanded in any of the books. And some of them, like you will hear these arguments that are given in Quran, they are valid to this. So some of the people, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَتْ لَكُمُ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَالِصَةً مِنْ دُونِ النَّاسِ فَتَمَنُّوا الْمَوْتَ إِنْ كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also giving an argument that those people who believe that they are the selected people of Allah, or the chosen people of Allah, and Jannat is totally, reserved for them. So why don't they wish for death? Because when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that anybody gave his life for the glory of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, so it created a group of people. They love death more than their life, but that such was not the case with the people of Bani Israel. They believe that okay, Jannat. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is saying that they will never wish for death, because a Muslim, his heart is saturated with the love of Subhanahu wa Taala. He will also see this world as a cage. He will see that as a prison, because he has a love to meet Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. But some people of scriptures would not have that thing, because they had done very bad things. They have disobeyed the prophets. They have slain the prophets. Because of that, they will not be to meet Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And some of them would wish that they will live here for 1,000 years. But again, there's an argument that if somebody lives, even Allah Subhanahu wa Taala grant him a life of 1,000 years, if he has done the bad deeds, and after living 1,000 years, when he die, he will, even after living 1,000 years, he will not escape the hellfire. So even if a person has a short life but has taken the good deed from this world, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala will grant him. وَلَتَ جِدَّنَّهُمْ سَنَّاسَ عَلَى الْحَيَاةِ. So they will wish for a life rather than death. And they will wish that they will live for 1,000 years. So we will stop here, and inshallah, any question or comments, we will move forward with that.